Derek Carr has retired. Ladies and gentlemen, the most insane ending to the most insane saga of all time has just happened. Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Get right or get left. Mimosas, LOL. No time. Put the bottle back. Or maybe get the bottle out. Derek Carr has officially retired. What? I feel like Stone Cold Steve Austin right now. What? Insane that this is how this played out. Insanity. All right, when I first saw this, straight up, when I first saw it come through, I was like, all right, well, this is just some kind of meme, some kind of meme joke, some kind of hacked account, whatever. Nope, it's the boy. It's Nicholas. Nick's tweeting it. And then, of course, the New Orleans Saints put out their actual statement. Everyone else follows. I mean, this is as real as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Derek Carr has retired from the NFL. So I'll tell you what, I got about 6 videos scheduled that I'm going to have to go back and delete. But let me tell you this, too. Who is the biggest winner in this whole situation? I'll tell you who. Jake Haener. Because now his ass doesn't have to go update his LinkedIn profile to try and get a job at State Farm, and he's now all of a sudden the third-string quarterback for the Saints. Let's read the press release. New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr announces retirement. This is official from the team. In late March, while ramping up his preparation for the 2025 season, Derek experienced pain in his right shoulder. It was his first time throwing a football of significant volume since recovering from both a concussion and a left-hand injury sustained during the play on December 8th, 2024, that is the Giants play. Derek immediately contacted the Saints medical team in late March. All right. Eventually, medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant degenerative changes to his rotator cuff. Since that time, Derek, his representation, Dave, aka David, the Saints medical team and outside medical experts have worked together to determine the best path forward. Surgery was an option, jeopardizing the entire 2025 season. Yet there was no guarantee Derek would return to his level of strength, function, and performance of play to which he was accustomed. We've seen that before. Like Peyton Manning, Cam Newton, they have surgery. All of a sudden, they can barely throw. Upon consultation with his wife, Heather, Derek has decided it is in his best interest of both his family and the Saints to retire from the National Football League. Quote, upon reflection of prayer and in discussion with Heather, I've decided to retire from the National Football League. For more than 11 years, we have been incredibly blessed, and we are forever grateful and humbled by this experience. It's difficult to find the right words to express our thanks to all the teammates, coaches, management, ownership, team officials, and especially the fans who made this journey so special. Your unwavering support has meant the world to us. I mean, so there you go. I'll tell you this. Now, on one hand, it is what it is. The Saints and Derek have split. It is over. It is finished. The Saints can move on. We can move on. I can move on. Everyone can move on, right? We can all shake hands, agree to disagree, leave, move forward. This is what the Saints needed at the end of the day. Whether it was from a release or a trade or a retirement, this was the best thing that could have possibly happened for the Saints, was just moving on from Derek Carr and separating from that situation. Now, human side of it, you hate that, you hate that he's got to retire, or that he feels like he has to retire, or that he's medically, he was hurt to where he's got to end his career. So, and of course, we have to mention that. You got to mention that, it is always brutal to see a career come to an end like that. But as far as the Saints, they couldn't have asked for a better end to this. Because now, according to Nick, and we'll see how this all plays out with the actual dollars and cents, but the Saints will recoup the money from this offseason's restructure and will get cap relief. So here's the question. Is Mickey Loomis playing 27D chess? And did he do the restructure the way he did it because he knew what was about to happen? And those are questions we will never get answered. All right, we'll never understand the actual ins and outs of what happened, when it happened, and maybe that's why this was so secretive, is because this was on the table, but they couldn't let it out. Now, like the timeline, it really doesn't matter now, but the timeline is wild to go from Carr demanding a trade, because we have to assume now at this point that he wasn't really throwing then when he demanded the trade or asked for the trade or whatever. So he wasn't throwing enough to know he was hurt. Then it seems like he starts ramping up, realizes he's hurt, and then all of a sudden it's a whoopsie poopsie. Meanwhile, the Saints have to restructure by March 12th or whenever the new year started. So the Saints have to restructure. They restructure. All this happens. Carr doesn't realize he's hurt. Or maybe at that point they do. Who knows? Because it says late March, right? It said late March. Let's see here. In late March. Yeah, so this is after the restructure. The restructure was March 12th. So after the restructure, he realizes he's hurt. According to this. Like, again, like who the hell even knows, right? But the important part for Saints fans, two things. One, quarterback controversy, quarterback room is cleared up. It is officially Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. Shough, Rattler, and Roll is where we're going. Okay? They're battling it out. Jake Haener's sweeping up, vacuuming, doing what he does, whatever. But this saga is over. And all of the cloud and the shadow that's over the team and the will they, won't they, are they moving forward? What are they doing? This is just kind of weird. It's all figured out. And I'm pretty sure this is kind of interesting. I'm not, this is just straight up speculation. It's 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure the last day to buy season tickets was yesterday. I'm pretty sure. Someone double check me on that, but I'm almost certain yesterday was like the final payment day or whatever for season tickets, which is kind of interesting if that is true, which I think it is true. But the Saints will recoup the money from this offseason's restructure. What I'm assuming or what I believe, or assuming what that means, is the bonuses that the $30 million or whatever they turned into bonuses, I would assume that is what they will recoup. I'm guessing that's how that works. And if that is how this plays out, I mean, you talk about the front office looking like geniuses. I mean, if all of a sudden the Saints get a windfall of $30-40 million recouped from bonuses and restructuring that they restructured at the 11th hour before Derek retires, man, insane. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, you never know, right? Like, you never know if what I'm not confused about, but what kind of boggles my mind is why would Derek retire and not just have the surgery? Because it's like retiring just seems really drastic, unless he's just kind of done with it. Unless he's just kind of done with it, doesn't want to put forth, a lot of the times, like, having surgery, rehab, all of that, it's like, I don't feel like doing that at this stage of my career. I don't feel like going through all that. It's another year, 2 years, I'm already older, whatever. So I can understand that. But you'd think, like, because of the situation with the Saints, he would just say, I'm going to take a year. I'll take a year, have surgery, see what I can do, and then if it doesn't work out, I'll retire then, because he is under contract. And no one would have blamed him for doing that, right? The Saints could have put him on IR or whatever and then see what happens. But for him to absolutely say, you know what, I'm not even attempting all that. We've seen this a little bit. Like, we've seen this with Andrew Luck, Calvin Johnson to a certain extent, where, I mean, Carr is what, 30, 35, 34, something like that. So, like, he's, in the grand scheme of things, he's not that old. And I certainly don't blame any player at that stage of their career who has played for 11 years, who has a family, who has hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. I wouldn't have the surgery. I would say, look, I'm out. I'm out. If I was, playing for Super Bowls and I was on a dynasty type team, maybe. But in Carr's situation, yeah, I'd probably say, I'm retiring. I'm going to go do the Homegrown Network, see what happens, have some fun, live your life. Like, you've done everything you set out to do. NFL quarterback for over a decade. Like I said, hundreds of millions of dollars. Wow. I mean, they won't be building a statue of Derek Carr outside of the Superdome, but they might build a statue of him in the accounting office, because this recoup the restructure and getting cap relief, to me, this just really expedites what we've talked about, how the Saints are leading up to being one of the most salary cap rich teams in the NFL in 2026 and 2027. This just is a catalyst for all that. And man, like what a new era. I mean, they just kicked down the door of the new era of the New Orleans Saints. You know, now it's like, you talk about rip the Band-Aid off. Like, this is a rip the Band-Aid off. It's just insane that this week, not 6 months ago, this week, we were getting reports. We did video that Derek Carr wants to avoid surgery and play week 1. Jane Slater had her report this week. And then 72 hours later, he retires. Miss 2025, not having surgery, wants to play week 1. 3 days later, retire. Damn. Absolutely insane. All right, we're going to put this video out. We'll be covering this all week long or all weekend long. No doubt about it. Unbelievable. Put your comments down below. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'll see you in the next video.